Hello. Some necessary hydration. Okay. I feel like the exposure's a little bad. There we go. Yeah, you can see a little bit better now. Yeah, so we're working on this big bone dragon boy. I think he's pretty much ready. Where's my normal oil? Or no, not that. Not that. This. And let me get my Twitch stuff here. Okay. I'm trying to think how to prop up my phone so I can see chat and stuff better. Maybe that guy can hold onto it for me. Perfect. Goodness, my desk is a mess. So pretty straightforward. We went ahead and put a base coat of Tomb King Tan, which is, I actually don't have the paint with me right now, but it's like this, but a little more neutral. This is kind of pinky looking almost, but so we did that base coat with the airbrush, and now I think I'm gonna go over him with this Grim Black Speed Paint, because the idea is to do some object source lighting on like his face and stuff, as if like there's a torch in front of him. So I need to take all this and like brighten it way down, because the torch should actually look bright. And I was debating between this and a black wash, but the wash flows very, very well, so it'll go into the recesses, but I want to stain the entire thing black. So this is a bit more designed to do that. So I'm going to give this a shot first. I also have... Oh, these are kind of the same. Are these the same? So one thing that's annoying about GW paints is they always have fun names, but don't actually explain if there's any other colors in there besides... Like, I don't know if there's just black in here, or if it's like a... It looks like a pure black, but... I think I'm gonna try the speed paint first. I feel like it's maybe better suited. They kind of look the same though. We can always test it out. I don't know if speed paint's advised in wet palettes because like it kind of sinks through, but I'm gonna try. Let's see that brush. Probably go bigger than that. Yeah, it's a good brush size for this. Yeah, I guess I'll just give it a shot. I guess that's one advantage to the GW one, is I can just pull it out of the pot a lot easier. Let me see how this looks. You know what? That looks pretty darn black. That might be okay. Ooh. That's darker black. I'll stick with the speed paint. bunch of that on the palette because I'm going to need a ton. I'm going to start with a little test spot on the back though, just to make sure it's the right approach. Let's see. Oops. Wow, it is hard to reach back here. So let that dry first. Paper towels. Let that dry for just a second to see how that looks when dried, because maybe it's too dark. In which case I'll switch to a brown instead. It's like, yeah, that's pretty darn black. Maybe I shouldn't have put all that speed paint on the palette. That was kind of silly, huh? I'd really like to avoid using a wash. Let me see if the GW one does the same thing. It probably will. Let's see why not. Oh. It's definitely different. I don't know if either of these are the effect I was going for. Because the GW one just looks like dirty. I mean, it hasn't dried yet, but still. The speed paint is very dark. Maybe I will try a wash. Let's go straight to the recesses, as expected. And then I'll try... This is pretty much the same thing, but this is like a brown wash instead of a black. I'm not gonna lie, I really thought the black speed paint was gonna be the move. Oops. So far, the black wash seems to be like the closest to what I wanted. So I got the black speed paint, and then I got the GW black contrast paint, black wash, and then brown wash. So I did the black speed paint, like I might as well have just painted the whole thing black instead of this color. Maybe 2 layers of the washes is the move. What other options do I even have? I could go straight to the villainy inks. That might be it, or I can glaze something. I could try one of these contrast paints maybe. Definitely doesn't look dark enough. We'll see when it dries though. This is a toughie. It's like if I do an even application of this one, maybe. You can see the speed paint trying to run away. I could thin down the speed paint. We can try that. So far, the black wash is looking the best. Well, it's raining outside. Okay. Wasn't expecting rain. These are the tough choices. I wonder if I can apply this a little more evenly. Maybe. Yeah, that might be the best one. As long as it dries like a little bit nicer looking than that one, then that'll be fine. I'm starting to think I should go off the other route, just like painting everything really dark blue. But we'll let that dry for a bit and see if that gets anywhere where we want it to be. We'll be back in just a couple minutes while that dries. Hello, we're back. Oh goodness. Have these dried yet? I'm really thinking this one might be the one. So I was doing test swatches to see, because the whole, I base coated this thing with the mid-tone I was kind of shooting for, but I want to darken the whole thing and then lighten up specifically where the torch light is going to be, so it'll like stand out more. My original plan was just to use this black speed paint, but it covered way too much. And I still want some of that mid-tone to come through, which it seems like this is going to be the move. I think I like this. We'll see though. Once I put on the orange and stuff for the torchlight, maybe it won't look right. I don't know. But so it'll be this with like fat application. And put the others back. All the failures. I have too many paints. That's not true, actually. Every time I'm like, oh, I should do it this color, I don't have that color. But that's how it goes. Green. This is my intermission task while I wait for it to completely dry. Because once I do the whole thing with the contrast paint, I can't really go back. I have to rebase coat everything if I want to do that. Okay. You can see the super black up here was the speed paint. This stuff is just way too dark. Coverage is too good. And when I thinned it down, it still didn't look quite right. So I'm like, we're not going to do that. Because this is the unthinned speed paint. And this is the thin speed paint. Which, like, that's not too bad, but it's a bit too bright. And I could mess with the thinning and stuff, but it's too finicky at that point. I have to mix up a whole huge batch to cover this thing. Meanwhile, this seems to do a pretty decent job. It's a little flat, because, like, it's just, you know, neutral color. Like, there's no color in there, but maybe that's okay. I don't have like a super dark blue speed paint or contrast paint. Oh my, what's going on here? I like second from the right. Oh, this one? Yeah, it's not bad. It does look brighter than the others, so maybe that is the move, but this is the speed paint thinned down. I do like how even it looks compared to the contrast paint. Oh man, the text is getting obliterated in the... Can I widen that? Well, that doesn't do anything. I'll have to fix the text wrapping, but... Very smooth. Okay. Top tail view, yeah. He's all like bleh. I guess I'll go for that. I think I might have to repaint the Tomb King tan on these parts to be able to achieve this effect. So I'll be right back again. The title. Oh no. Can't have that. Duck. OSL Bone Dragon practice. That's good to me. There we go. I'll be right back again. Okay, and back again. It's pretty dry. Just getting some fat base coat back down on this guy. Wormy. Yeah, he's pretty wormy. Oh, hey, got a few people in here now. Just a little recap of what we're doing here. We were doing test swatches. Because I put the mid-tone that I wanted on here, and then I'm going to darken the whole guy. Let just a tiny bit of that mid-tone come through so you know what color he is supposed to be. Because I want as much of him like as dark as possible so that the OSL like on his face stands out more. Because if I just like painted, started like doing like yellows and oranges and stuff on his face when he's this bright, it just wouldn't stand out as much. I have to like hook him up with like LEDs or something. So I was doing test swatches with a few of my speed paints in contrast to see what like effect looked the best to darken him. So I'm just covering that work back up. It's really hard to get in here with a brush though. I did this all with an airbrush at first and I am missing that right now. Honestly, it's probably good enough. It's gonna be like so dark and kind of grimy looking anyways. It doesn't have to be perfect, but Some of it was just a lot darker than this is the one I decided to go with, this kind of effect. A lot of it was darker than this, so I couldn't get here if I left those as dark as they were. He should be neon pink and green. I don't know anything about art, by the way. You'd be surprised how often I get the neon pink Barbie requests. Like you want a dragon looking like this, right? Check that out. We could start with that, and then yep, just like that. I'll have to paint something like that at some point. I'm doing this with the express purpose of practicing for a competition piece I'm trying to do down the road. But I will make a pink thing at some point. Don't you worry. Fashion wormy for the year of this. It is the year of the snake. That's right. Good point. Let's see. How's the stuff drying? Yeah, even though these like, geez, words. Even though these don't look even, it doesn't really matter. As long as they're brighter than where this is right now, that's all that matters. It should all look pretty much the same. Which I was using speed paint. I was using this thin down. I gotta think about how I'm gonna do that. Because this is all speed paint, this giant pool right here. Can I just add water? Speed paint in a wet palette is kind of a tough gig, but how's that looking? Still a little thick. Maybe a little bit more water. I think that'll work. Okay. Cool. Heck yeah. Also, while it's dry, check these out. I got flowers. Fiance gave me flowers for Valentine's Day. Tulips. You kind of. Oop. Can you get the focus? There we go. 4K flower. That's funny. Let me refocus it down here. Okay. Nice color. Thank you. Okay, so let's see how this works. It's gonna be probably applied very thickly. Let me start. This will start right up here. Okay, yeah, I think I got the right consistency. Sweet. So yeah, we're just gonna cover all of this. We can always come back for a second pass, so too thin isn't really a big deal. Man, this is brutal with a brush because of all the little points and stuff. Can use half a bottle of speed paint doing this thing. And I'm pretty much ignoring the rocks for now. I'll take care of them later. Whoops. What? Oh, that's just like pure medium. What the heck? Oh, it like split. Shoot. I was like, what is that color? Shoot. Crap. I guess that's why they recommend thinning down with their fancy speed paint medium or Lamia medium or something instead of just water, because that can happen. Shoot. I'll have to give that a second pass later when that dries. It's not gonna dry with any color, like it's not a big deal, but it's kind of goofy. Behind the zombie gummy bear. Oh, it just went through on the slideshow, I bet. The zombie gummy bear is from ReaperCon, convention for tabletop wargaming, D&D miniatures, that kind of thing. They have a painting competition there. And they have lots of events and classes and stuff you can do during the convention to pass the time. One of the events was a gummy bear painting contest, and you get an hour to paint the best gummy bear that you can, any theme or whatever that you want, and they judge them at the end, and the winner gets, you know, paints or whatever the prizes are. So yeah, I painted up a little zombie gummy bear for that. I thought it came out pretty fun. The winner this time around did a, he did like 2 gummy bears, and it was like a Lord of the Rings thing. Like it was like Frodo and Sam, I think. I didn't get a good look at it, so I can't recall exactly what it looked like, but that was the wiener. I'm just gonna dunk this thing in speed paint, be faster. Yeah, he's looking spooky, isn't he? He's not gonna be the most refined boy, but it'll be fun when he's fully dry and has the light and stuff on him. All of this is just in service of the OSL effect. Try and make that look as good as possible. So many vertebrae. Let's get the underside too. Two gummy bears. Yeah, right. That's. He did it same time limit. He had an hour, and he was able to put together 2 gummy bears. I guess, you know, if you can fit it in the time and still do a high quality thing, I guess it's fine. But I don't think I would have done more gummy bears in my thing if I had time. I barely had time to finish my guy. What kind of paint do you use? I have a lot of different brands. I haven't like fully committed to one yet. And I don't know if I will because, you know, some of them are better at some things than others. Like, the one I think I have the most of right now is probably Army Painter. Maybe. Army Painter or Pro Acryl I have the most of. Are you like looking to like get into one of the paint sets, or? Like right now I'm using Army Painter Speed Paint for this. But other companies make equivalents, like Vallejo has their Express Paints, which are the same thing. GW has Contrast Paints, which are the same thing, but twice as expensive. I can't recall who else makes speed paints like this. I know there's one I'm missing. Because Pro Acryl doesn't make one. They just make regular matte paints. Like, they have some metallics and fluorescents too, but God, I'm almost to the head. I have to mix more of this speed paint. I hope I have enough to finish his face here. You can kind of see how the effect is going to look though. Like, I'm going to paint his whole face, but just imagine like... it's kind of hard, but... Yeah, just like imagine those parts being kind of lit up. But just like orange and whatever, obviously, instead of just the bone color. Thankfully, I'm not too worried about getting super dark coverage on his face, because his face will be the brightest. But yeah, paw. Like, let me see. You've probably seen these all, but this is what Pro Acryl looks like. They got these fun little twist top bottles. It just drops out like that. I probably shouldn't do it over the freaking dragon. These are fun because you can do this one-handed. Not that, you know, I'm like dual wielding and need to do whatever, but Pro Acryl paints are super nice because you can. You don't have to thin them down. Like, I don't think a single one that I've gotten from them so far I've had to add any water to do like a base coating consistency. Like, obviously you can thin them to, you know, get glazes or layers or whatever you're trying to do, but they pretty much work straight out of the bottle, which is nice. Unlike these Army Painter paints, which have a thicker body to them, so you do have to thin them down, otherwise you'll get a bunch of texture and like it won't work. But having a thicker body is nice because then you can do things like wet blending easier. It's like you can always start thicker and thin down. If you start thin, you can't. It doesn't. If it starts out too thin and you're having trouble wet blending with it because it's too thin, like there's not a lot you can do. But if you start with a thicker body, you can always work your way down until you're at the consistency that you like. The exception is if you have like a really thick paint, like tube paint from like Liquitex or whatever for generally like canvas paintings and stuff, that's like really thick body coming out of the tube, and you try and thin that down, that will not work super well for this. Like the coverage won't be as good. Yeah, pretty much the coverage is the issue. because the amount of pigment load in there isn't designed to be thinned down to the level needed for miniatures. So once you get it thin enough to like Pro Acryl level, the coverage is going to be poopies. It's not because those paints are bad or anything, they're just not designed for this. You can still use them, of course. You just may run into troubles compared to like these miniature specific paints. But yeah, Army Painter, Pro Acryl, and I also have Vallejo. Pretty much the same deal as Army Painter. They come out a lot thicker, you have to water them down. I don't know, super neat. Pretty much the same as Army Painter. I also have Reaper paints. These are their Master Series paints, MSP. I got a bunch of these free from ReaperCon just for like, you know, buying the convention pass or whatever. They just like threw a bunch in my goodie bag. These are kind of in line with Pro Acryl in terms of the body they have. Like you can put them on your palette and they come out like wet enough already. You don't have to thin them down at all. But at least with, I haven't used them super extensively, but they're just a little bit chalky compared to others. Like, let me see. Like I've used this silver base a few times, trying to do like NMM stuff, and this might be cheating because this has white pigment in it, which is notoriously chalky. But I just noticed that when you thin these paints down to try and do like glazes and stuff, it more readily separates and starts getting chalky compared to other brands. But they're very cheap and they got some fun colors. Some people swear by them, so. But they're not bad by any means, but just some quirky behavior to notice with them. As far as paint brands, is that the last one? Oh, and of course GW paints. The first line of paints I got, really good paints. Again, a little bit thicker body. It's like in between Pro Acryl and Army Painter, like a little bit thicker. Like you do have to water them down still, or thin them down. But they're kind of fun because they have a lot of really cool colors and they tend to dry more satin, which is like good for a couple reasons. One, if you want a satin finish, like, you know, super nice. And satin is also a bit tougher than matte finishes. Like Pro Acryl dries super duper matte. It's like the surface of it is like really rough, which is why it looks matte. It like breaks apart with the light and stuff. But because this dries satin like a little bit smoother, it makes it really tough. Not really tough, but tougher compared to matte paints. And like a glossy paint would be like the toughest. So like for like painting up like tabletop stuff, if you don't plan on varnishing or anything, this will be a bit tougher than Pro Acryl and stuff. But, and if you like the pots, you know, I know people like swear by these little pots. And I think this is the last paint brand I have, is Turbo Dork. I only have 2 of these, but I just picked them up at the convention for funsies. They're streamboo.com. I don't even know what that is. They're like a metallic paint, but they're prismatic metallic paint. So like they're pretty much designed to be used by themselves. Like oh, it's downstairs, but I have a dragon. I was like trying to airbrush with this to see how it turns out, but you can kind of see this is the swatch for it. On this side it's blue, and on this side it's purple. And so depending on the angle you look at it and how thick it is in that area, it'll look anywhere between this color and that color, which is a fun effect. Kind of like those like iridescent cars, those fancy paint jobs. I'll have to see what I can do with it though, because it's a little limiting because it controls the light. So like you don't have any control over how the light's going to behave on this. Like it looks cool, but once you put this down, like you can't highlight it, you can't shade it. But there's got to be something I can do with it. It pairs well with other things, but maybe I'll make a post on Instagram or something to figure out something fun to do with it. But that's a good ramble while this starts drying. So this actually turned out pretty good. This is pretty close to what I wanted, which is nice. So I'm going to mix up more of the speed paint consistency that I need. And get the underside. This is kind of a mess. Speed paint on a wet palette's tough because it's very watery, so it actually flows back through the paper, and so your sponge gets a bunch of stains in it. Okay, how's that looking? That's not bad. Okay, let's see if I can grab this. Now I gotta get the underbutt. Oh, and the reason I'm using speed paint on this instead of a wash, one, I did the test swatch and the wash didn't look as good, but I didn't expect it to look as good because washes have a lot of flow aids, so they want to immediately go into recesses. Like, they don't want to stay on raised surfaces at all. Compared to speed paints, which I don't know what additive it is in speed paint that makes them do this, or if it's just less flow improver or what, but they actually stick on the raised bits a lot more than a wash does, so it stains the whole thing, which is good because I want the whole thing to look in darkness, but still have some of that mid-tone coming through so you know what color it is instead of just being black. I just didn't think it would look as cool if the whole thing was just black. I might give a second coat to some of these parts, I don't know. Oh yeah, and Potter, thank you for the follow, by the way. I never acknowledged that, jeez. I'm a monster. Always appreciate the follows. I gotta work on the audio cues for that stuff because it doesn't come through to me at all. Because like before it was like blaringly loud and it would like deafen everybody listening. And so I made it quieter and I put a headphone in, but I don't know why I don't hear it on my end. Okay, so that's the booty side. It's gonna be a tough choice if I want to do a second coat on this. Because like it's not super dark yet, but I don't know if it needs to be. Oh, good point. Did my thing update? Does it say? Sorry if I like zoom in here. No, I think it still says 5. Properties 7. Oh, it'll probably update soon. I have the little follower count thing below my camera here. And last time I updated immediately, someone followed and. Ooh, what the? He's dripping. I don't know why that happened. All the paint flowed all the way down this guy to end up on that rock. But this is good. This gives me time to figure out the colors I want for the lighting. Because I have this nice warm yellow, which is probably going to make an appearance. Because like I have a couple other yellows, like I have yellow ochre, but it's not very saturated. Which could be fine, but I feel like the punchier yellow might be fun. I have another yellow ochre that's a little bit brighter. I have this like hunter's garb orange. That'll definitely have to be part of it. It's actually almost like a half step or a step between these two. What do you think about this? So we have that. Oh, we got white. Vallejo's white is definitely my favorite, like, white so far. Like, the army painter white is like poo-poo butts. Chalks up so fast. So we got the oranges. Definitely this one. Because I'm trying to think about my progression here, right? Change this one. This is drying. So we got burnt orange. These are like the same color. Maybe red. It's not a bad spot to go. So like, imagine my light source is like a torch that is like a step, or like in between these two colors, as like its absolute brightest point in the middle of the torch, which means nothing on the model can be this color. The brightest thing on the model can only be this. Which is good to know. I don't obviously have a torch here, but I'm just gonna try and imagine that it's like maybe here, or it could be down here too. Maybe down here isn't bad. That would definitely look more dramatic, wouldn't it? Or maybe there. Let me see. I think this is 28 or 32 millimeter scale. So let me see if I have a miniature that is at that scale for reference. Let's see. Oh, perfect. I'm actually going to be using this guy for something else, but he can still serve purpose. I think he's 28 millimeter. But we can pretend the dragon is 28 millimeter. So if we imagine this guy down here, oh, that's like a perfect height. Yeah, that'd be really unfortunate to see in a dungeon. So let me think. So the things that would be lit are obviously like his snoot, his jaw, this tail down here. Like a gradient going up the side here, but probably totally dark up here. His face, maybe the tips of these two bones. Some of the rocks. Top of this rock or pillar. Okay. Think about this. Are we so small? I think I like that. How do I make it so you guys can see this better? If I put them both on their sides. And then yeah, I'll have the lantern facing directly at the guy. This guy's not like part of this diorama or anything like that, but I just want a reference. But I like that. So that'll be nice to use his like lantern light on a guy like this too, because he has so many little points, so you can, you know, really outline the sculpt of this guy with that light. But I think what I'll do is I'll do a second coat of the speed paint on the areas that I know now are going to be like super in shadow, like underneath here, back here, and then I'll start working on his actual like lighting bits. And once I sketch out where all my light's going to be, maybe with a mix of these two, I'll start as my darkest color, darkest non-transition color. I sketch all that in, then I'll darken the shadows right around the transitions there between the light and the dark. That'll be pretty good. Is his face dry? I think so. I just realized I can see the layer lines on this guy's face. But I can't imagine this was made with an FDM printer. That'd be insane. But anyways, so let me try and sketch this in a little bit. Let that keep drying. Is there anything else on his face that needs to be darkened? I don't think so. What brush are we using today, boys? Let's see. I'm feeling size 1. I actually don't think I've used this orange yet on anything. No, I used it on non-metallic gold. That's right. Switched a little bit. You're asking about the paints. I don't know if you can tell from there, but it's very watery. Like no thinning at all required. Ooh. That's a little pinker than I might have wanted. So let's see, if I take that, that. That's not a bad color, but it might be too bright. I can always darken it, but let's see how that looks. So he's down here. Okay. So if I like... Oh, this guy has a lot on his face. Is the light going to look like he's telling a scary story? I think so, honestly. He's got his teefies. You can kind of see. That might be dark enough. I'll have to see. Again, this is a practice session, not a I know what I'm doing and I'm teaching you session. So we'll see where we go. Gotta get my groove and see where the best painting light is at. Painting focus. Oh, he's got a chip in his tooth. How sad. Yeah, I have to figure out what shadow color I'm gonna end up wanting. Cause like the spots like behind his teeth and whatnot, do I just want them like black, which is fine. But colors are always a little more interesting. Look at that warm snoot. Yeah, I might have to add in more shadows to his face. I don't think it's dark enough. But I can do that after. So again, he's down here. I need up. Oops. Oh man, you can't even see. I think this would be pretty neat. I am thinking I should have darkened his face quite a bit more, but we'll take it to the end of the highlights and stuff and see how it ends up looking, you know? Because I can always come back in and add the shadows. It's not really a big deal. Is that blurry? No. I keep like readjusting my view to imagine like I'm looking at it directly from the perspective of Mr. Lantern, just to make sure I keep the lighting in the right spots. Like a little eye socket there. Kind of see where the light's gonna be. Maybe this is the darkest color. Actually, does make sense. best angle for this is probably going to be like something like that when it's all lit. Yeah, like these shadows that are going to be in here, like behind the eye socket and behind the nose, I'm going to have to darken them quite a bit. But I don't know how much to darken them yet because I don't know how bright it's going to be. I'll probably darken them quite a bit, but I just want more information after I finish all the highlighting. You can see this is the angle I'm trying to do. So once like that entire angle is this red color, I'll know I'm in a good spot. Oh, inside of his mouth too. Oh, jeez. Does he have that same thing as... Is this guy asymmetrical? Probably a little down that way. Hopefully this is validation to anyone that you can be shaky and do this. Okay, so I gotta get like inside of these jaws. If I can reach it here. These little teefies. And then the roof of the mouth, that's kind of tough. Because I can't get my brush in from the front, so I'm going to have to come back through the bottom here. See, did I get it? That's not bad. Just this one part still. I almost got it all.